Hi everyone, it's William with the Grand Duke Dmitri Diary series, and I am in the director's apartment today at Schatzalp, simply because it was convenient. It is convenient, and I was too lazy to go and find a more interesting location. But I will be doing so. So we're up to the 19th of April, 1921. Our recap for the 18th of April, well, Dmitri and Shagubatov went shopping, specifically to get a present for Maria for her birthday. And they Dmitri picked out this fantastically expensive shawl because he tells us Maria loves shawls. And then he spent the evening at Coco's, but really didn't have much to say about that. Okay, so the cast for today, we have, of course, Coco and Maria, the two women who are, at this moment, the most important people in Dmitri's life, now that he's not doing much politically. And then we have the ladies of the Russian colony, as Dmitri calls them, and three of them in particular. All right, so 19th April 1921, Tuesday in Paris, Dmitri's apartment, as you know very well by now, the address was 76 Rue Miromesnil. All right, here we go. In the morning, Shagubatov and I went to pick up the shawl that I had bought for Maria the day before. Then we took a walk, and around 12:30 I went to Maria's. There I found Sonia Shuvalova, Natasha Babrinskaya, and Madame X. So this is one of those weird instances, this is me, by the way, interjecting, where Dmitri has left a space, but has either not filled in the name that should go there or has erased it. Instead of just saying, and another lady, he puts in the space for the name and then leaves it empty. Go figure. Okay, back to Dmitri. Apparently, while I was absent, certain changes took place among the ladies of the Russian colony in relation to Maria. They have acknowledged her, and now they love her and visit her often. But of course, it's partially pocketbook love, because Maria arranged a bazaar for them where they could sell their things for their own benefit. I lunched at Maria's. Mamachka was there and was frightfully interested in my trip to Monte Carlo, but didn't ask any questions. It was obvious that the rumors hadn't reached her concerning whom I had gone with. I spent the afternoon at Maria's. Naturally, we took a drive in the Bois. It was cold, but better than before. I went to Coco's for tea. She was a little more cheerful and was still very touching. All right, that is not the end of this diary entry, but that's the end of the first part of this diary entry, and I'm going to do it in two parts because it's very long and it's neatly divided into what Dmitri did up until tea time that day, and then what happened in the evening. So, what do we have? Well, when I mentioned the cast and the ladies who were most important in Dmitri's life, I forgot to add Mamachka, Dmitri's stepmother, Olga Palay. So she's in the mix too. And you could say this is Ladies' Day for Dmitri, because at least the first half of the day, well, aside from Shagubatov, it's all women that he's concerned with. All right, so maybe any of you who watched the videos from Dmitri's diary entries of January 1921 know that he was a little worried about Maria, not just because she was in a difficult marriage with a partner who was clearly very unhappy and kind of making her life miserable, but also because she was isolated. He felt that she was isolated, that she didn't really have anyone but him and her problematic husband. And I hadn't thought about it at the time, but part of that might have been just because she was a divorcee, and that was still scandalous in 1921. And come to think of it, Dmitri had one very close friend in pre-revolutionary Russia who was Felix Yusupov, maybe more than one, but it seemed like Felix Yusupov was primarily his bestie, if you forgive me for using that word. But, not having Maria's letters or diaries for that time period, I don't know if she had an equivalent to Yusupov, a woman with whom she was very close at that time. I guess I need to refer back to her first volume of memoirs, but I didn't bring it with me. Anyway, if she did have, then apparently that woman either wasn't in Paris or the relationship hadn't resumed in the same close way that it had been before the revolution. Anyway, now there's this change, and Dmitri is being a bit cynical about it, and, quite possibly rightfully so, because it almost was as though she had been shunned a little bit, and now all of a sudden they're all flocking around her. They love her, he says, and they come over all the time, but it's part of it is because they're a lot of them, let's face it, are hard up, and she's allowing them to generate charity funds for themselves by holding this. He uses the present tense when he says, I put, because Maria arranged a bazaar for them, because he's already talked about the bazaar that took place not long after he returned from Paris, I think, or was she only just arranging it? Yeah, maybe it hadn't taken place yet. Maybe I shouldn't try to correct him and say, that should be in the past tense. So because Maria is arranging or has arranged a bazaar for them where they can sell their things for their own benefit. So I was confused before about what was going on with this bazaar, and I wasn't sure if I quite understood him correctly when he seemed to say that the charity was for the participants in the bazaar. They weren't fundraising for emigres in distress. They were the emigres in distress, apparently, to a certain extent anyway. Now at least that's clear. And I'm surprised at how out of touch Mamichka was, because she was kind of, according to Dmitri, at the center of all the gossip that was going on. But I guess not, because the gossip was that Dmitri had gone off and gotten married to Coco, and Mamichka, now he's saying, doesn't really even know that he went with Coco. How could she not know? But anyway, she's being tactful for once. I think she was a person who enjoyed gossip and who in the past had really tried to sound him out, but not this time. So that's good, I guess. So Coco gets squeezed in today. He's not going to go a day without seeing Coco, even though he won't be able to spend any time with her in the evening. And he tells us that she's more cheerful. Sounds like, according to him, she'd been pretty low after their trip. She'd been feeling a little depressed. And yeah, he sort of attributed it to, the end of the trip, with the implication of the end of her being with him in adjoining rooms at the hotel every day. I don't know if that was true or not, but anyway, this time he finds her more lively, and it's interesting that he ends it by saying she's still very touching. So she's being nice to him. She's being helpful to him. It always impresses Dmitri when someone is nice to him. Make what you will of that. Okay, so you will want to come back for the second half of this diary entry, because it is about Maria's birthday ball, not just a party, but a ball, and hosted on a grand scale for her by one of the ladies of the Russian colony. I guess one who wasn't hard up, apparently. So anyway, there's that to come back for, and I hope to do that tomorrow. Today is Friday the 11th. Tomorrow will be Saturday the 12th. But my week is going to be complicated because there are two filmmakers, documentary filmmakers arriving here from Marseille, and they will be filming largely at Schatzalp, and I'll be pretty closely involved in that. So they were here last year working on the same documentary, and they were very long days. We would start in the morning and finish at, say, 11 o'clock at night. And so I'm anticipating that this time as well. Their time here is limited, so they're going to try and do as much as possible. And so I don't know. I just don't know if I'll be able to squeeze any more in. But yeah, in fact, will I be seeing them tomorrow or Sunday? Tomorrow, I think. But I'm going to make an effort anyway to do one tomorrow, because I don't want to leave you hanging with the second half of this diary entry. So I hope to see you then. And yeah, until next time, bye.